So guys, today I am going to be reading a subreddit called r/NoSleep since it's before Halloween. So it's like 2 weeks before Halloween, so why not get a spooky subreddit in for the season? So this one is called "I've been flying almost 30 hours and the flight attendants won't stop crying." So, here's the story. 30 hours ago, I stopped on a late-night flight from New York heading to Los Angeles. After boarding, I saw I had an entire row to myself. Takeoff passed without incident as soon as I stretched out for a nap across the row. I slept for a few hours, I don't know how long, but I woke up to some severe turbulence. It's possible that the lights in the cabin went out for the moment, but I was so disoriented it was hard to say. I checked my phone to see that it was 4:03 a.m., which I figured gave me about an hour till we landed. When I looked out the window, I was shocked to see nothing but wide open ocean. My jaw dropped. There's obviously no ocean between New York and Los Angeles. I hit the button to call the flight attendants and spent the next few minutes racking my brain for a lake that could have been possibly big enough to explain what I was saying. I jumped when the flight attendants flipped off the light. She was grinning from ear to ear, tears pouring down her cheeks. "Can I help you, sir?" she asked. I froze for a moment at her reaction before deciding just to ask my question. "Where are we? Why does it look like we're flying over the ocean?" She wiped her cheeks to clear the tears, still grinning widely. "Sir, we'll be landing in about an hour." Okay, thank you," I said. After she left, I checked the clock on my phone again. 4:03 a.m. blinked back at me. It hadn't changed. I had been waiting with my call light for at least 5 minutes. How was it possible that it hadn't changed at all? I opened up my laptop and saw it too displayed. 4:03 a.m. Pulled out my phone, started my stopwatch with the app, and spent the next 2 hours looking back and forth between the clocks for them to change. They never did. I tapped the shoulder of an older woman sitting in the row ahead of me. She looked back at an annoyed expression across her face. "Yes?" she asked. "How long until we land?" I asked. She narrowed her eyes. "Flight attendant said it would be about another hour." I shook my head in confusion. The flight attendant? We talked almost 2 hours ago. We should have landed already. She stared at me as if I was crazy. I was going to continue trying to convince her, but I felt a hand on my shoulder. I spun to see a male flight attendant grinning down at me, tears pinging from his cheeks onto my shoulder. Sir, I'm going to ask you to calm down, or I'll be calling the captain." I told him that wouldn't be necessary and sat back. He removed his hand and stepped away. The flight attendants continued to stop every few hours offering meals. My stopwatch continued to tick up, is now telling me that I've been on this plane for more than 30 hours. I've explored all of coach and tried talking to some of the other passengers, but they've all told me they were expecting to land in an hour or so. Around 3 hours ago, I tried getting to first class. I made it past the curtain, but was escorted back by 2 grinning flight attendants. Their grip on my arms were like iron. "Sir, the seatbelt sign is on," one said. "Please remain in your seat with your buckle fastened. We'll be landing in about an hour." I'd just given up hope when a woman came down the aisle dressed in a business suit. She didn't look at me or slow down. She dropped a piece of paper onto my tray and made her way back to the bathrooms in the back of the plane. I shot a look before unrolling it. It said, "Are you stuck too?" I pulled out a pen and wrote, "Yes, it's been 30 hours." I folded the scrap paper and set it on the tray closest to the aisle. She left the bathroom and picked it up as she passed. It's been 20 minutes since then. I don't know why, but I don't think the flight attendants would like it if they knew we were talking. It doesn't matter. I have to do something. I'll update you whenever it happens next. Oh, there's a YouTube video link to it.
Most people only experience one or two true storms in their entire lives.
Oh, never mind. Oh my goodness. That has got to be the most wow story. Just wow story I've ever read. I've been in a search and rescue diver for 12 years. We see a lot of strange and disgusting things. But what I saw last week has me questioning both my job and reality. Alright, here's the story. I've been involved with water search and rescue for 12 years now. I've seen a lot of upsetting and even unexplainable things in my time. But those pale in comparison to what I saw recently. Water search and rescue is often a depressing job. When someone gets lost in the forest, they can still be found alive days later. But when we get a call, it's almost always body recovery. People don't last long in the water. Yeah, no kidding. No one can breathe in the water except for SpongeBob. I can't tell you exactly where, but I live in the Northern Territory, where known for its water sports. Fishing, kayaking, diving, whatever it is. Our waters probably have a solid reputation for it. Despite this area isn't some kind of resort, the waters are cold and oftentimes vicious. Search and rescue operations there have been grueling, and not many stick with it. There are a few older guys who have been doing it for longer than me, but I'm the one most experienced around. Like I said before, this job is more body recovery than anything, especially here. We save more live moose from the water than live humans. When we got a call about a missing child, well, we're better off giving our condolences. That's just how the waters are here. Our small town has one of the highest drowning rates in the country. But we look anyway and usually find a body. I've considered quitting many times in my career. Most people quit after their first recovery. In training, we try to emphasize on how much water can distort a corpse. But nothing can compare for the harsh reality. It's not uncommon for us to find bodies bloated beyond recognition. Sometimes they barely even seem human. A lot of divers don't last long after seeing something like that. But I continue to do it after all these years. I figured if I didn't, then no one would. However, the things I saw last night made me reconsider my decision. Alright, here's the actual story. I got a call around 11 a.m. A father had taken his 10-year-old son fly fishing. At one point, the father managed to stab a hook all the way through his finger. He went back to his truck to get a first aid kit. The boy was gone when he returned minutes later. When I first heard the story, I hung my head in silence at the moment. It had been raining heavily for almost a month now, and the waters were running faster than ever. To make things worse, it was unusually cold for the season. A number of people had gone missing in the recent weeks. Many of them had yet to be found. I had little hope finding the boy alive. Me and a couple of other divers were at the site. Sorry guys, I'm sweating a lot. I'm just sweating from standing here. It's hot in this room. Okay. Let's do that again. Me and a couple of divers were at the site where the boy went missing for a bit. Within an hour, a larger search and rescue team located a few towns over was headed our way. We talked with the father and even searched the forest for a bit, hoping that he had just wandered off. But eventually we realized that we would have begun searching the river. The moment I got in the water, I knew the boy was gone. The current was worse than it had ever been. Even I had difficulty navigating the icy water. We looked for hours in the surrounding areas. I even expanded our search once the larger team had arrived. The boy was nowhere to be found. I was surprised I hadn't expected to find him alive, but... Oh gosh, it went... Oh no. But. Okay. Cut that out. That was on me. Sorry guys. Just cut that part out. Anyway. I was surprised I hadn't expected to find him alive. But I had at least anticipated finding the body. However, there was no trace of him. As the sun got low and the air grew colder, we were considering calling it off as nightfall approached, and resuming the search the next day when I discovered something. There's a lot of creek beds around the river. Many of them had dried up as a result of encroaching vegetation or man-made efforts to divert the water. We usually don't pay any attention to them. However, with all the recent rain, I noticed that one of the larger creek beds had begun flowing again. A surprising amount of water crashed through it, easily enough to carry a young boy. The creek ran across a bend in the river, connecting the 2 points. I followed it and realized the boy could be located outside our initial search area. As I approached where the creek reconnected to the main river, I felt a sinking feeling in my gut. There's a place in the river where not even search and rescue divers are supposed to go. It's known as Badwater. This area lies in one half of the river and runs for about 100 yards. It is near a densely vegetated area, so we don't have to worry about people swimming there. But a lot of disappearances occur in these surrounding waters. Despite that, I've been warned not to dive in there since I began the search and rescue. Supposedly, the undercurrent was so strong that even the most experienced swimmer will be swept away in an instant. Don't go near bad water. It was the mantra of the older divers. I went back and reported... Wait, did I skip something? I did. The creek ended exactly at the center of where the Badwater region. As I reached it, I stopped and chewed my lip thoughtfully. Thoughtfully? Okay. If I went back and reported this to the other divers, they would tell me to let it go. They wouldn't let me dive there, but deep down, I felt like the boy's body was tangled up in some weeds nearby. If only I could find it. I hated the idea that the kid had been stuck down there, slowly bloating and rotting away while his parents sat at home wondering where their boy had gone. Badwater didn't seem that bad. I'd seen rougher waters, but I knew the looks could be deceiving. Just below the surface it could be flowing faster than I ever imagined, and I swept away in an instant. Besides, I wasn't supposed to dive alone. I almost turned back, but something made me stay. I stared into the river at the moment, thinking about the boy. Then I put on my gear and dropped into the icy waters. The first thing I noticed was the current actually seemed pretty weak. I spat all over the place. As a matter of fact, it was weaker than the rest of the river. The water was extremely deep, so I could only see the blackness below as I dove. I kicked deeper and deeper, thinking that the current might pick up or slow down. But the opposite seemed to be true. The water was almost completely still. I went even deeper until finally the green shapes began to materialize in front of me. I thought I finally reached the bed of the weeds, but as I kicked lower, the truth came into full view. I felt vomit come into sight, and an odd and dangerous sensation when you're wearing a scuba mask. Countless arms stuck out from the ground below. I thought I had come to the trove of bodies, but the disgusting reality became even more apparent only a moment later. The arms grew directly into the ground. They even had roots that spread out from the base. It was as if someone had their hand cut off hundreds of arms and shoulders and planted them there. They were green. I watched as they clutched the water around them. They varied in size and seemingly aged, grotesque baby hands sprouted near the bottom. And they opened their fists and closed their fists hungrily. It was then when I saw the boy. God dang it. Why does it keep going back? It was then when I seen the boy. It was then that I saw the boy. His eyes stared sightlessly ahead of those grotesque arms, pulling his dead body downward. It seemed they had gotten around a hold of him. The arms yanked at him, burying him in the surrounding sediment. They pushed and whirled and squirmed until he was securely buried up to his chest. I stared in mesmerized horror. Hang on. That was when the other bodies came into focus. There must have been at least 4 more, all in varying stages of decay. Some were bloated beyond recognition, only bulky white masses of protruded loosely from the riverbed. I once again felt vomiting. It's late. I once again felt vomit rising from my throat, and I swallowed it back down. The frickin' hands were feeding off the bodies, using them as fertilizer. The moment I clambered out, the water tore my mask off and retched. I couldn't stop thinking about those disgusting bodies, those groping hands. They were like some sort of carnivorous plant. They were so humanoid. I vomited again at the thought. I frantically ran back to our base camp and pulled one of the other divers aside. Moose was the most experienced person in our team. He had been diving for over 20 years. This movie here, I told him about what I saw. When I finished, he stared at me in cold silence. I told you not to go near bad water. His voice contained an iciness that even his thick Louisiana accent couldn't conceal. That's what you're concerned about? Excuse me. I had dinner before this. Like 2 hours before this. I was incredulous. He placed a hand on my shoulder and squeezed tightly. Don't tell anyone about this. But if the others find out you went to Badwater, he trailed off for a moment. Well, it won't be good. He shook his head like a disappointed father. But what were those things? I tried to keep my voice down, hoping no one would hear us. How many people have died because of those frickin' things? Shut up, Moose said. We have an agreement. There's an only reason to grow. There's a reason they only grow in bad water. Don't mess this up. I started to say something, but the words caught my throat. He was keeping something from me. He sighed, then I saw something like sadness behind his eyes. Sometimes you have to decide between lesser and greater evils. Even the best possible decisions can still keep you up at night. He went silent for a moment and only stared at me. Don't tell anyone about this, but maybe one day you'll understand. He walked away and I was called off the day's search. Despite what I told him, we continued to search for the next 2 or 3 days. The third day, we called it off completely and gave our condolences to the family. Aww. Well, he's dead, so. I don't know what the hell is happening. Moose has been acting different towards me ever since. There's an iciness to him. From every now and then, he'll shoot me a knowing glance, like we're some sort of secret together. I've noticed the other older divers acting strangely too. What did he mean by the agreement? What the heck were those things? I'm considering quitting and moving away from here. I can't live the knowledge that those things are down there, slowly feeding off the boy's body among countless excuse me others. Heavy Kabisa. Oh my, wow. How long is this video? 22 minutes. Okay. That I'm gonna leave this episode here of r/NoSleep. If you guys would like me to read r/Entitled Parents again in the next Reddit video, please let me know. Yeah, that is about it for this video. If you enjoyed it, click or tap that like button and subscribe for more, and follow me on my Instagram. And if you like the Lion Guard, follow me on Twitter. We are working on a very secret project that I basically revealed in my last driving vlog video. But that was my mistake. I only revealed my part, not anyone else's. So, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Sorry I kept moving my hands because I was like so like into the story. I have an idea. How would you guys like me to live stream r/Entitled Parents and r/NoSleep? Because I can most possibly do that, because it will be interesting reading like reading subreddits live, like without music in the background. I'll probably have something playing either on my phone or on my television behind me, like something smooth going on. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!